Prediction markets galore, crypto's 4chan, and is the SEC ceding ground to the CFTC? All that and more coming right up on Block and Order. Welcome to Block and Order, the show that explores the legal issues facing the world of Web3 and beyond. I'm Kyle Lawrence, and with me, as always, I'm convinced I'm one of the only people on the planet who can accurately pronounce his name, Moish Peltz.
Oh, thank you, Kyle. I can also pronounce your name, but that's maybe slightly less impressive. I do notice that people are getting better, and maybe that's because Block and Order is getting out into the world and they're hearing my name more often.
It's the only plausible explanation, but it would shock you how often my name just gets completely butchered by all sorts of media, friends, family, guests, and so on and so forth.
It would shock me, but I've been in enough rooms and places with you to see it happen.
Yeah.
Kale.
Kale. Exactly.
Kale, right?
We'll flash that up we'll flash a picture of that. Yeah, that definitely happened. And not the only time. Yeah, it's true. Well, thank you for joining us on Block and Order. We are a point counterpoint style show that examines legal issues facing crypto, blockchain, AI, and other emerging technologies that we're all facing with as a growing planet. So we try to keep every topic to a set amount of time, but sometimes we are feeling rather feisty and spicy and we go over that time limit, and other times we get it just right. So thank you for checking us out on Spotify or Apple Podcasts or wherever you get your listening content. You can also check us out on YouTube if the sweet amber tones of our voice are not sufficient for your pleasure. And with that, we will kick off the order. Leading us right off, Moish, is Polymarket. Prediction markets such as Polymarket are gaining widespread attention for their role in forecasting political events, including but not limited to the upcoming presidential election. Who knew? And, Moish, admittedly, this is not something I know a ton about. So if you don't mind, I'm actually going to kick it over to you and let you wax poetic about what this tech is.
Yeah. So what's the deal with Polymarket, right? It's a good question. I've been thinking this might be the most successful crypto project to extend beyond crypto. I'm curious what you think about that. There's been a lot of news and politics in the news the past couple of weeks. A lot of things going on, at least in U.S. politics, but not only U.S. politics. I think you look to Europe and other places. And beyond politics, there's just a lot of things that people want to bet on and predict. And oftentimes, if you ask an economist, how do you find that information? Like, well, we turn to markets, right? So here we have Polymarket, which is basically allowing anyone in a decentralized way or relatively decentralized way to create a prediction market for any particular event that can result in a binary yes or no or something in between. And so what you've seen in the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg and over the past week is a lot of people are now turning to Polymarket to get their news about how much something that's happened in recent events is changing the likelihood of a certain political outcome or sporting event or music, entertainment, whatever it is. And that's kind of the beauty of it, is if anyone has an idea for a market that's not already expressed, they can create one.
Right. But one of the things I saw that you could do on Polymarket was bet. Last week, this was kind of pumping with the talk that Biden was going to drop out of the race, and there were odds, and that were changing every time something else came out of the news cycle, which was every 5 minutes. How is that not betting on elections, which I don't think you can do? How does that?
It's exactly betting on elections, and I think there's two models here, right? Polymarket actually had a settlement with the CFTC in the US and said, you're right, we're not going to allow these markets to happen in the US. And they geo-blocked out US users. So US users can use the platform to gather information, but they're not expressing their bets on the platform. At least they're not supposed to be. There's another competing market, which hasn't been talked about as much, called Kalshi, if I'm saying that right, Kalshi, that went the legal route. It actually won regulatory approvals from the CFTC, but they came short of offering election markets, which right now is kind of what I think is driving a lot of the market share of Polymarket. And so actually, I think it's before this run up right now, but Kalshi has actually sued the CFTC after its election market application was denied, in order to hopefully launch markets tied to political elections. So that's currently the CFTC, being the non-security market regulator. So commodities like prediction markets like this would be the natural regulator. Um, you're seeing a company that's screening itself off the US gain tremendous mind share, and a company that's trying to play by the rules apparently kind of being stifled and not being as nimble and able to offer the different kinds of markets as quickly.
Right. Interesting stuff. Thank you.
Yeah, we'll see what else they can predict. Maybe they'll predict a block in order next topic.
I mean, it stands to reason that they will.
All right, well, our next topic is Pump.fun. So, Kyle, you referenced it in the run up to the show. It is being termed crypto's 4chan. So, again, another, Matt Levine and Money Stuff today offered a very, I thought, fitting quip that, Pump.fun, which is basically a platform for launching Solana meme coins, um, and said the SEC's view is essentially that it's illegal to publicly offer a cryptocurrency that represents an investment of money in a common enterprise with profits to come solely from the efforts of others, but an investment of money in nothing with profits to come solely from memes is fine. So the result is you get dumb crypto projects that regulation allows, and the SEC, so you get the crypto projects the regulations allows, and the SEC encourages crypto to be dumb, and crypto obliges. So here you go, Kyle. So what do you think? Pub.fun? I know we talked about it on a prior episode, like legal, illegal. What do you think? Here we are, a little bit more analysis.
Well, it's funny. I mean, and I do think that meme coins, we joked about it a couple of weeks ago, and I think the past couple of weeks when you've just seen, I mean, millions, I don't think I'm exaggerating when I say millions of meme coins have been just dumped onto the market. The idea that people are investing in meme coins with the idea of getting rich, I mean, I'm sure some people are, and a fool and his money are soon parted, but for the most part, people are doing these things because they think it's funny, or they think it's cool, or aligns with their values. We see it politically, we see them in sports. And Michael Seelig, a partner at Wilkie Farr, has basically said that the idea that these things are illegal is preposterous because of this reason, that people are doing it for fun. And he says people buy meme coins to express a viewpoint, be a part of a community, speculate on the attention value of cat pictures, or for other entertainment reasons. And if we're looking at as a purely legal thing, sorry for lack of a better word, it can't possibly be a security. So what are these people doing that's illegal? And I think, I don't know if that's a completely genuine argument. It's a little specious, but if looking at it at face value, I think there's merit to it, and I think you can at least make a plausible argument to that effect.
Yeah, I love the 4chan analogy, because when you bring up the homepage, it's just so like crack addled,
Right.
and it's just things are moving at lightning speed, and a million meme coins. I looked at the stats. It's more than 1 million meme coins have been launched on Pump.fun. If you go back to March,
Crazy.
Guess what that number was, right? It was
couple
under
thousand,
2,000 meme coins on. So like just in the past 6 months, they've launched basically 1 million meme coins. It's just like there's no, I don't know, right? None of these are being presented as the next Bitcoin or Ethereum or thing
Right.
that's going to change.
Exactly. That's the thing. Yeah. Right.
They're memes.
Yeah, that's exactly the thing. And they come and go so quickly. I mean, if you can get in there within the first 5 minutes, maybe you can make a couple bucks. But if you don't cash out immediately, you're going to lose whatever you put into it, for the most part. Not financially, but
Yeah, but look, I think it gets back to, I mean, it's a nice contrast to Polymarket, which is actually, I think, useful in presenting information. This is just vapid nothingness
a
that
flurry.
people are.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, look, some of the most successful crypto tokens, if you look at, the top 25 market cap, there's a lot of meme coins in there. People like them. They're fun. And it's the opposite of, Ether or something that has all these promises of we're decentralized internet and the future of everything. This is just a cat or a dog.
And for our younger audience members, go to Pump.fun. Don't go to 4chan. 4chan is 4chan is not where you want to go. Well, moving right along, it seems that our White Walker friends at the SEC may have lost their stones a little bit, as they have dropped investigations into BUSD, and they also dropped a probe into the Hiro Stacks blockchain. So recently, the SEC concluded its investigation into Paxos BUSD stablecoin without recommending an enforcement action, marking a significant development for the crypto industry, and one that we really haven't seen a lot of. It's more just been go and filing these enforcement actions. And also recently, the SEC ended its investigation into Hiro Systems Stacks blockchain, opting not to take further action. What's interesting about Hiro, used to be called Blockstack, maybe you people have heard of it. They actually worked with the SEC to conduct a $50 million token offering under Regulation A+ back in 2019. So that gets back to the come and talk to us, come in and register, and we'll be your friend. And I've always said, if you do that, you're insane. You're going to walk out with a subpoena. Well, these guys actually did it, and they fought the law and they won. So, Moish.
Well, they walked out with a subpoena, and it took them
Well,
a couple of years to make it go away. So I don't know.
What is it? The wheels of justice turn slowly, Moish. What can we say? That's not an everyday thing.
Yep,
But
I know that.
Moish, what do you think? Is this a watershed moment for the SEC? Is this of things to come? Is this reflective of the political climate? We're in an election year. What are your thoughts on this?
That's like what is driving this? That's a good question. I do think it might be exhaustion from the SEC and just seeing all these suits, and combined with the political pushback, combined I think really importantly with the orders that have been coming out of various district courts. We talked about the DC district court opinion from Judge Jackson last week, or our last episode. So there's been some really for the SEC negative decisions. There's been a lot of cases they brought. There's been some departures from the SEC. So I think when you add all these things together, maybe there's some low hanging fruit here where the SEC is just like, you know what, I don't think we're going to win that one. Let's just drop it and go away. So I think that's fundamentally good for the industry if they're able to say, hey, we have more case law. Here's all the reasons why this is a stinker. Can you please go away? And it's working now occasionally,
right?
Which I don't think that was the case a year ago.
I don't think
at least you weren't hearing about it.
I don't think it was the case a couple of weeks ago. It doesn't seem like. But now you're sort of seeing this sea change, and we're going to talk a little bit about it later. With the crypto is becoming much more political than it was just a couple months ago, and there's a potential change in administration, and that's going to have an impact on the SEC one way or another. And I hate to be cynical about it, but I wonder if that's kind of part of this. It's obviously not all of it, but it could be in the back of their minds as they make these decisions. Oh.
Yeah, it's hard not to think, well, let's wrap up what we can and jettison the ones that don't make sense, thinking about going into November and January of 25.
Right. Yeah. Obviously, Paxos expressed satisfaction with the decision, highlighting their commitment to compliance, as one does when the SEC leaves you alone and pats you on the back on the way outside. Hiro Systems also emphasized its adherence to regulatory guidelines. So positive developments. And again, like we always say, incremental progress is progress nonetheless, and we will take it.
All right. So our next topic is Celsius, which, after having previously collected about $100 million from 1,500 account holders as part of their bankruptcy clawback from users who withdrew funds shortly before the filing of the bankruptcy, the Celsius litigation administrator is now filing new complaints against users who withdrew funds within 90 days before the bankruptcy but haven't already settled. So basically, any user who hasn't already settled that withdrew more than $100,000 has what's called withdrawal preference exposure. And this was all over social media, with these users essentially saying they're being unfairly targeted for using the platform, and they had kind of ordinary course trades and so forth. And so why and now basically the litigation administrator is asking them for a much higher dollar amount than they were previously offered in settlement, because everyone kind of had this blanket kind of pennies on the dollar settlement amount they could have benefited from before July. So Kyle, what do you think? Is it fair for these users to be targeted for essentially walking away with their money?
It's a question we get asked a lot as attorneys. We've had a lot of clients who have received not necessarily notices from Celsius, but Voyager was one. We had a bunch of clients who had these notices, and they all say the same thing. I didn't have inside information. I just took the money out and I moved it somewhere else, or whatever it may be. This is unfair. Now, legally speaking, I mean, these are what the rules are, and we always like to say, we don't make the rules. From my point of view, I think this is unfair. I understand the thinking of why they need to do it this way and why the bankruptcy court and the trustees need to do this. I'm not blind, but if you're somebody who's operating in good faith and you took your money out and now you have to turn around and give a huge chunk of it back, yeah, I'd be pissed too. I don't think that's necessarily fair. I get it. I just don't like it. That's I'm sticking with that.
Yeah, look, I don't like it. I don't think it's fair. I mean, in the abstract, right? That I was using this platform. I saw that it was going to blow up. I took my money out to save it.
Yeah.
And I was offered a settlement. I think it was like 17 cents on the dollar. And I didn't take it. Right. So I think, that was the decision that people made. And now some of those people, right, because we know about the bankruptcy process, are going to have like defenses. They're going to have a reason that
Sure.
they think the settlement that was offered is not fair, and they're going to do better now than they would have done then, or
Right.
they think they're going to do better, or they're taking that calculated risk. And I think there's some people that just had no idea or forgot or didn't turn in the form in time or whatever. And that's one of the weird things about these crypto bankruptcies is the creditors are, here like thousands, tens of thousands of just consumers.
Yeah.
And they don't have the sophistication to be able to say, this is what I should have done with bankruptcy, or whoops, I should have taken the settlement. Like, I'm not going to pay, 17% of my money back to you.
Right.
Screw you. And now they're being asked for probably 10 times that amount
Exactly.
in a federal bankruptcy litigation. And like, whoops.
Right. And now you have to cash out of another asset, or you have to liquidate something else. It's the whole thing stinks.
It sucks, but I don't think it's unfair. I think that's the bankruptcy process. It's fundamentally unfair. Is like no one's getting paid back. That's why we're in bankruptcy. So we need to equalize things. And
like I said,
it's unfair. Like in the grand scheme of how
Yes.
the world can be unfair.
Right.
But I think amongst creditors, there has to be balance, and that's the process.
It reminds me of what happened to Martha Stewart because she got accused of insider trading because her broker called her and said, "Hey, you're going to lose all your money. We got to cash this out." And she said, "Okay."
Yeah.
What would you do? You would do the exact same thing. It's that I get it. Yes, what she did was wrong, legally speaking, but to hell with that. What are you supposed to do?
Yeah, well, I think the part that is unfair is that the claim administrator is saying, you like, if you took out one Bitcoin in 2020 or 2021, whenever the date was, but now you owe us one Bitcoin at $64,000, and that part I think is unfair. It's like playing with
sucks
to the detriment of these individuals. But look, everyone here gotta put on your big boy pants. It's $100,000. Like, that's the cutoff. So there we go.
Yeah, the best deals are the ones that everybody loses, I guess.
Right. Everyone's upset at each other. That's
Everyone's upset at each other. I'm upset with you, Moish. Take that. That's what makes us friends.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
You're my co-host. You can't be upset with me.
It's true. I'm sorry. I take it back. Moving right along to somewhat greener pastures, the Commodities and Future Trading Commission chair, Rostin Benham, recently testified and claimed that the majority of crypto assets, 70 to 80% to be exact, should not be classified as securities, aligning them more with commodities. Hey, Moish, did you know that 37% of all statistics are just completely made up on the spot? This classification would obviously affect how these assets are regulated, with the CFTC potentially taking a leading role in their oversight. We've seen this with some of the legislation that's been proposed by the Lummis-Gillibrand bill, for example, has been promoting more CFTC oversight. And her claim, the chair's claim, stems from a July 3rd decision where Judge Mary Rowland of the Northern District of Illinois entered a summary judgment against Sam Ikirti, a man facing CFTC charges for operating a, quote, classic Ponzi scheme that extracted $83.7 million from investors. And this fund, if you indulge me for a minute, this fund, he claimed that he was investing in proof of stake tokens, but it turns out he invested 90% of it in Olympus DAO's OM token, which, we remember all too well. That was doing really well for a while until it really wasn't. And a substantial portion of the remaining funds, proof of dog shit, a substantial portion of the remaining funds were invested in Klima DAO's Klima. So, one, you have a bad actor, but what Benham said was that courts roundly recognize cryptos as falling under the broad definition. The Judge Rowland said this. This is because cryptocurrencies share a core characteristic with other commodities whose derivatives are regulated by the FTC. So that was a long roundabout way of me asking you, Moish, do you think this is, again, another watershed moment? I'm using that term again, where we're seeing a shift from the SEC over to the CFTC?
No,
Nor do I.
I think we're in mid-July 2024, and none of this matters until
Yeah.
January 2025.
Yeah.
I think that's the reality. I think it doesn't matter now. Nothing's going to happen. Nothing's happening in the next 4 months.
Well, that's certainly true. But it's just interesting to see, we have the SEC backing off on some of its enforcement actions, right or wrong. We can argue about, what the underlying facts were in the underbelly of those cases. Now you have the CFTC coming out and just throwing out a random percentage that has no basis in reality. It's just the push-pull component to it I find interesting, especially now.
Look, I think it's interesting, like the interagency politicking that's going to happen between now and January, and kind of positioning for either the continuation of this administration or the next one, and just how that all plays out. It's going to be, I feel like there's going to, the back room kind of knives out gossip stories are going to be really fascinating. But I don't know, right? So I think this is all playing out amidst the backdrop of all these judicial decisions, and here you hear the chair citing another one from the Northern District of Illinois. And so I think that's important. I think it's important that that happened. But I think it's also funny that there's 70% number when we just spoke about how there's over 1 million assets just on Pump.fun. So I don't know. I think if you add in those assets, the number might come like, those are not securities, then
it still means that
nothing's a security.
It still means
percentage basis.
300,000 of them are securities. That's still a problem.
All right, now for something completely different.
Nice.
OpenAI, the well-known AI company, has whistleblowers who have filed a complaint with the SEC alleging that there have been significant safety risks and regulatory violations at OpenAI, including the company's allegedly restrictive NDAs. So the SEC has basically made it clear that if you're bound by an NDA and your company is subject to SEC reporting obligations, and your NDA prevents you from being a whistleblower to the SEC, you are in big trouble. Right. So now whistleblowers can go to the SEC and ask the SEC to probe those overly restrictive NDAs. So that's what happened here. So the SEC is now involved in examining these allegations, and part of a larger report that raises broader questions about AI ethics and safety protocols at OpenAI, which has been a much larger conversation.
Right.
So Kyle, what do you think? What role do NDAs, restrictive, overly restrictive, or otherwise, have to play in regulating entities such as OpenAI?
Well, I have sort of two things that I want to say about this. One, I've written an NDA or two in my career. I've been doing this for a while. And
how many did you write today? Right?
How many have I written today? Right. I think 3 or 4, I guess, maybe. We have interns now. They write all that stuff, but I review them. But the idea, it says in there, all our information is confidential, except for if you have to report to a government agency, you let the company know, and the company will then, help you do that or guide you to it. I'm curious as to what these NDAs actually said, where they couldn't do that at all. Like, that seems to me overly restrictive and unenforceable just on its face. But to a broader topic or broader idea of, where does protecting our confidential information stop, and where does the public trust begin? And that's we could talk for hours about that. Obviously OpenAI, there's a lot of money at stake here. There's a lot of competition. You're seeing a lot of entrants into the space. Elon Musk has his platform that's coming out, or is being well funded, and is all this hubbub about it. But at what point is OpenAI, if there are safety concerns and these people have to testify or get that information out there to protect the public good, honor the public trust, at what point can the company say, hey, you can't do that, that's our IP? I find this kind of stuff fascinating. It reminds me of one of my favorite movies, The Insider, the Michael Mann movie, which is that's all I can think about when I read these things.
Great callback. Yeah,
Yeah.
I was on a Michael Mann kick a few weeks ago. Watched Thief, which is on the Criterion Collection.
Nice. Yeah.
That's yeah.
The James Caan movie. Right?
Anyways,
Yeah.
uh, right. So I mean, how much does it matter? Like exactly what is in the NDA if it has that like. Is it just it's just a case where it's just like the magic language was not there that there's an exception for you to be able to do whistleblowing reporting to the SEC and that was there or not there.
Right.
Is that determinative or is it kind of a broader question? So I guess we'll see what happens here, but check your NDAs. Maybe it's a take home here.
Yeah, really. I mean, hopefully someone got fired for not including that language. I mean, it's literally in every one. I don't even know how to do an NDA without one. I think it'd be like the opposite of riding a bike. I just don't understand it.
Well, I mean, to speak about that, there's a lot of crappy NDAs. There's a lot of crappy legal documents floating around crypto land, right?
That's true.
And now OpenAI itself is generating them for, not clients of ours. So, if you're asking ChatGPT to generate an NDA for you, that's the kind of thing it might miss, right? So there you go.
Yeah. All right, moving on to our fabled lightning round. Moish, you ready? You look ready.
I don't know, Kyle. Are you ready?
I was born ready.
Oh, yeah. There you go.
So, despite its bankruptcy, Three Arrows Capital unexpectedly acquired an NFT due to a bid placed nearly 3 years ago being accepted recently. 3AC's 20 ETH bid for the Neon Village NFT was accepted after 3 years. It was previously owned by Anonymous, who paid 100 ETH for it.
Anonymous. Anonymous, come on the show. Tell us how you pronounce your name.
Anonymous. The NFT's value is significantly decreased from its original purchase price because when it rains and pours, 3AC is currently undergoing bankruptcy proceedings, and the acquisition has, among other things, raised eyebrows in the crypto community.
I think my favorite story from
crypto
is the liquidators spent ungodly amounts of money tracing every last dollar and liquidating everything and trying to pay the creditors. And as it turns out, there was just 20 ETH stuck in a super rare smart contract. That's just I just think it's very fitting. And now the bankruptcy, they own a new NFT. Congratulations, 3AC liquidators, on your purchase.
They should get something for their efforts.
All right, our next top. That was not a lightning.
That's okay. That was a mini segment. I think so.
Yeah. Chainalysis just published their money laundering report. Congratulations to our friends at Chainalysis, which highlighted the increasing risks and also regulatory platforms surrounding increased use of crypto by non-crypto people for money laundering. So, Kyle, there we go. What else is there to say?
I mean, you nailed it. Sometimes, Moish, you say it perfectly and eloquently, and there's nothing I can really add to it. It's true. This is one of those times. Recently in the news, the United States Republican Party has adopted and embraced crypto as part of its platform going into the 2024 presidential election. While specifics of what it is they're actually trying to do have not come out just yet, they really just been openly accepting and embracing crypto. Trump has repeatedly said that he wants all the Bitcoin to be mined in the United States. And, all of a sudden a lot of Republicans who were bearish on crypto have now come around and it's becoming a big part of their platform. And Trump will be speaking at Bitcoin 2024 in Nashville in a couple of weeks, where Block and Order will be present as well. We're curious to see if he unveils any specifics about what it is they're going to do.
Well, yeah, I mean, they previewed at least 3 points, right? One is which they're against the CBDC,
which is not really a thing.
They've been talking about for a while, right?
Not really a thing.
Defending the right to mine Bitcoin in the U.S.,
which is awesome.
Ensuring every American has the right to self-custody. And I think those are 3 things that should probably be bipartisan. Maybe the CBDC thing is more of a mixed issue, but
I guess that's in the research stage. That's not happening anytime soon. It's not even a priority for the people who care about it.
I think that's right.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Next topic: Ether ETFs are coming out next Tuesday. I think that's it. That's lightning.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
Congratulations to the UK Law Commission that released a UK DAO report. And lastly, because we're going to try and get out of here on time, we will be in Nashville next week. So if you are in Nashville, if you're a Block and Order fan, please send us an email, send us a message on our YouTube channel or one of other platforms, and we'd love to meet you. We will hopefully be recording some stuff there. No promises, but if we can, we would love to meet up with our audience. So reach out. Hope to see you there.
Thank you, Moish. That wraps it up for this edition of Block and Order. Remember to like and subscribe and follow us on all our socials, and all the links to that are down below in the show notes. Please drop a comment below if there's a particular topic you'd like us to cover. We take all the comments and suggestions very seriously. Remember, nothing you hear on the show is meant to be construed as legal and or financial advice. Please consult your own attorney if you're going to take the plunge. Neither discussion of nor the fact that we may own certain assets or products covered on this show is not meant to be an endorsement under any circumstances. Very special thank you to producer Chris, who's very busy right now, but without him, the show would not be possible. So thank you, producer Chris. So just remember, all's fair in love in crypto. On behalf of Moish Peltz, I'm Kyle Lawrence. Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
See you next time.